Whack goes my arm, hitting his, which is holding the trigger joystick. Push goes his leg, which is supporting his arm. Press goes his foot, which is connected to his leg as determined by biology. Welcome back to the Daniel's Nemesis podcast, reading chapter 20, William Makes First Contact. Passion projects. They need passion. I was passionate once. Was that just age? Being young, not much to do, most of this novel was written during university holidays. Later, when I had a job, it was one that I could just leave behind me as soon as my shift was done, and I had no other concerns than to just write when I was at home. Life happens, and life catches up. Responsibilities follow you from the workplace and invade you at home. Finding time to do something that you enjoy becomes a chore when you have to clear your busy schedule first. That was how I started this podcast, just being busy. Having the characters hound me brings in a whole extra level that can kill a passion. So what is this novel that I was once so passionate about? Well, it's definitely a passion project. What else can describe the genre mashup of a science fiction trope of an alien invasion set in the aftermath of the First World War that has heavy portions of surrealism dished up as well? Which begs the question, should passion projects be shared with the public? I have chosen to do so, with the caveat of analysing each chapter after it's read out with supposed extra life experiences, allowing me to look back with a "what the hell was I thinking back then" attitude. Annoyingly, this book is sometimes quite good. So, what's happened so far? Pulled off his Christmas leave, Ginger, an ace fighter pilot, has gone into battle facing the first wave of the alien invasion. Managing to force one of the superior alien fighter craft to crash land, Ginger was able to commandeer the craft and take out the remaining alien craft. Discussing with his superior, Ginger is preparing to go into space to take on the might of the alien force alone. Skadschreit, aka William, is the leader of the alien Trascon race who instigated the invasion. Wondering where his fighter craft have gone after losing contact with them, William has decided to go to Earth with his trusted companion to explore the fate of his fighters. So, you know the drill. We'll begin with please today. Please remember, this is fiction. Always fiction. Logic is as logic does. Chapter 20. William Makes First Contact. We found the other two smooths. We found them lying in amongst a mess of rubble and debris. Not just crippled, but destroyed. These were not scars sustained from the human craft, but scars sustained from our own. But how? The logical conclusion would be that in the heat of battle, the smooths strayed under their own fire. That seems imbecilic for it to happen once, but twice? It defies the logic with which I made that conclusion. Unless we have a traitor who purposefully set out to destroy these two. When these men were specially handpicked for their years of service and duty, their basic trustworthiness, one would then turn out to be a traitor? Am I feeling my own delicate pangs of guilt here? We flew down to inspect the wreckages, the carcasses. We ensured our own survival by adding a few more craters to the surface of the floor. The already fairly clear surface was now guaranteed safe. We landed on Earth. I got out first, the first Trasgon to step out onto the new homeland. I feel lightheaded as Skirnach follows me out. My actions seem faster and easier and smoother. My whole body feeling like it's finding some slight difficulty staying down. I put this down to the fact that Earth is slightly smaller than Trasconia, and we are therefore being subjected to a weaker gravitational pull. But it's barely noticeable, and after the first few seconds, it's forgotten about. I have only seen Earth in pictures and videos. I never realized how limiting the view given to me was. I find here that if I look in one direction, I can see this. If I look in the opposite direction, I can see that. If I move over there, I can get a better view. The control I can take over my own viewing pleasure is vastly superior to the restricted, controlled view of a picture. It's liberating. Of course, it's a liberty that I have every day of my life. I have the freedom to look where I want, within reason. It's just that it's not until you see a once static world for real that you think, wow. As I walk over to the damaged smooth, we pass by ruined buildings. Jagged teeth of bricks and mortar stick up into the sky. The clouds are luminous grey, contrasting with the black teeth. But what is more noticeable is that as we pass the bricks, the clouds stay in their position in the sky. They do not move, unlike the nearby landscape. At first, this is disjointing, and I have to stand there and look at the clouds. Then I have to test them by looking out from either side of a larger tooth. They do not move. But then stars never moved in their position in the sky for weeks as we flew through space. This must follow the same logic. It just seems unnatural. It must have happened on Trasconia too. That thought, more than others, scares me the most, as I am experiencing something for the first time, late in my life, that many generations before never could have got the chance to, that my earlier ancestors would have taken so much for granted in their day-to-day life. And I have to realize this on another planet. I feel a wave of nausea. I have spent a lifetime on a ship with my entire race, and I have never once felt like a Trasconian. The simple pleasures, the simple luxuries, the simple hardships, all falsified. For instance, there is a cold stream of air, but when you stand in front of a big enough object that can block the stream, the discomfort goes, even though you still remain cold. It is wind, but is not generated by anything. It is natural. It's a difficult thing to know that it's not just Trasconians who have known all this, but humans too, and all of Earth's inhabitants. It makes me realize that they are not unfeeling. They live their lives too, in exactly the same way that we live life. Lived life, though we can get back to that state now that our journey is over. My opinion of humans rises even more. I want to forget about everyone else. I am just content to stand here for my journey, at the very least, to have finally ended. We inspect the smooth to discover that another had shot it down. Inside, there is the bloodied remains of a body, shot at point-blank range, destroyed, unalive. We dig out the black box, hook it up to our onboard screen, and watch the last few moments of this smooth's life. What we see is a confrontation between this smooth and another. They face each other before accelerating towards each other whilst firing, turning and repeating these movements. In a game like this, there is no skill that can match luck. This one got unlucky. We rewind the tape even further. What we see is truly disgusting. A small projectile is dropped from one of the human planes, landing on one of the other smooths. The projectile explodes, though not damaging it, but covering the smooth in a red substance. It crash lands, blinded. The human follows. The smooth later reappears, but is flying extremely haphazardly. This is all seen in glimpses with gaps missing or at the edge of the camera, with humans flying around the screen, blocking much of what has been captured. It takes us a couple of attempts, but we manage to piece it all together. My greatest guess is that one of the smooths was commandeered. Well, the humans have been given the chance that they deserve. We dig out the other smooth. The black box to that one is even less help, but it goes some way to confirming our suspicions that the humans have taken control of our smooth. We know that there is still one more smooth to find. Hopefully, it will have been taken somewhere important, which then gives us a prime target. So there is always good in whatever is bad. However, we fly over what is a vast city. I really had no idea. We cram ourselves together because there is only so much room even a vast spaceship can give. Yet, humans cram themselves together for the sake of it almost. When you look outside the cities, there is so much open space. You wonder why it has not been used. There must be reasons that an outsider is blind to, but I hope to learn sometime soon. We stop. I get out again. It is a field. There are inhabitants, but not human. Cattle, I believe, providers of food. I cannot help but go up and speak to it anyhow. I know it won't understand me. It's not frightened or anything, but it does not understand a thing. I am frightened. I don't know how it reacts to anything not cattle. Will it attack? Will it run away? I must admit, I take its nonchalance to be threatening. But as I carefully get closer, I realize that is all it is. It's sad, actually. The first contact between two races from different planets, and all it is interested in is eating grass. I don't know. That's all I should have expected, I guess. Anything with more intellect, and there would be a sense of something happening. With humans, the day would have been marked with ceremony, massive ceremony, and they would not be entirely to blame. We too would have blown it out of all proportion. In a sense, I'm glad of this unofficial first contact. This is what I will remember. I regret this war that we've started. We had a chance that we've spoilt now. Take this cattle here. I mean it no harm. It means me no harm. We could live peacefully side by side. It could provide us with food. We could give it a home. It's a shame that we immediately took any sign of intellect on this planet to be a threat. I guess the only way I can justify this now is to say that even if we had come in peace, humans would have felt that we were a threat and tried to kill us. So I had no choice. What are we? Jealous of each other? I look down at the floor. I'm walking on grass. It's springier, muddier, and wetter than I could ever have imagined. I look up at the sky. The clouds seem to be moving now that I'm stood still. I look at trees. There are no leaves on the trees. Each tree looks completely unique, entirely spontaneous. Trees. Whenever I had seen them in pictures, they always looked like they should have been identical. Maybe it's just the leaves distorting the images, but there are only branches here. They twist and bend, look gnarly and ugly, reaching out in all corners at all places. Chaos theory. They are not even as brown as they should be. I can see through the tree, through the mesh of branches, that is. I can see hills and valleys, fields, villages, buildings, roads, cars. The world looks like it just stops there at the hilltop. The world looks flat. There is so much information to be taken in. I guess that the world does continue over that last hill, but it does not look like it. The way that the hill connects with the sky, I cannot imagine anything further. It should just be space. Yeah, and that's something that I do know about. That and artifice and controlled environments. I walk back to the smooth. Skirnage has been waiting patiently for me. Who knows what he was thinking about? I hope it's the same kind of thing that I was thinking about. We take off. What should be space does, in fact, turn out to be more fields, but we are flying in the opposite direction. I ask Skirnage what he thinks of Earth now. He says he was confused by it, yet not particularly impressed by it. I ask him if he felt how it must have been to live on Trasconia in the old days. He seems not to believe that it was any different from being a Trasconian today. I ask him, did he feel Earth was beautiful? He does not. He states he has very little interest in it. I ask him what interest he does have in it. He says he has some interest in Earth because it is home. I say it's the humans' home too. He replies, why do you think we are both fighting over it then? Skirnage is right. We do have to fight for it. It is our home as well. We have sacrificed too much for it not to be. The radar guides us to where the final smooth should be. It's a complex of buildings and strips of concrete. In a valley, there is a town nearby. But we open fire on this building complex that is hiding the smooth, just firing randomly. I feel I have to applaud Skirnage's efforts. They have done a lot of damage. Good shot. Thank you, Sire William. One of the lights on the control panel begins to flash. There is an emptiness inside me. Oh, fill me up, why don't you? We are being attacked, Sire William. This satisfies my need. I smile, just as I predicted. You knew they were going to attack us? Says poor, young, naive Skirnage. He starts getting angrier. Couldn't you have at least warned me? He opens his mouth. The crunch of his anger is about to fly out of his mouth. His fist is clenching, though not to hit anything, I presume. There is a slight twitch there. His hand tightens. A word comes out of his mouth, but is suppressed before it begins to make even the slightest sense, as he has just looked me in the eye. His fist clenches even tighter as all his feelings are now being pushed into that one act. He has realized in whose presence he was getting angry. The fist goes a pale blue. The eyes are closed, his mouth still open, hanging there, the tongue raised but not sticking out. There is a sudden jerk of the hand. The mouth closes, the eyes open slowly, looking soulful, compassionate even, as if he pities me. But surely he is only projecting his own feelings of pity outwards, onto me. He pities himself for making a fool of himself, but is trying to deny it, pretending everything is normal and what just happened didn't. For his sake, I play along. It makes no actual difference. I smile again, a warm smile, easy, friendly at first to help calm him, but turns cold and distasteful as I turn back into what he expects of me. It's all right, but there is no need to worry. They have only primitive weapons. They will do us no harm. The encouragement, however, is not enough for Skirnage. Ah, skitterch, says he under his breath. Fucking freak! Fucking sputum-faced piece of scum! Arsing twat fuck! Why me? Why me of all people? Why do I have to be sat here? Why could it not be him? Why do I have to be the calm one? I have to be calm. Have to be calm. Breathe in. Breathe out. Diplomacy, as I see it, is about the ability to remain calm in terms of good relations. I have to keep up good relations with him in order for him to do what I want him to do. I could damn well scream at him, but how much respect would I get? Probably a hell of a lot in some shitty, perverse way. But right now, I know I have to be calm because he is principally in control of this craft right now, and if he gets fired up, we could damn well lose our lives. I have to appear calm, even though right now I want to scream and shoot my fucking head off. You fucking fuck of a fucking fuck son. Please, do not swear. I force out, admiring the voices that are currently screaming abuse at him and at myself, more importantly, in my head. You are in the presence of a superior being, after all. Yes, well, they may not be able to hunt us down, but that certainly can. He points at a slightly larger dot on the radar screen. This slightly larger dot is in fact the human, or who we suspect to be the human in the captured craft, who has by now gotten into the air and is in pursuit of us. The real aliens. A fact I had hoped to conceal from Skirnage. Somehow, I had blindly hoped that we would destroy the infernal machine, at least put it out of use. Even the slightest bit of damage would be good, as long as the machine was temporarily crippled. Because our machinery, I hate to sound big-headed here, but it's relevant to my argument, is far superior to theirs. It would probably take them 100 years, well, maybe less than that actually, to build a smooth. 100 years, by my reckoning, to get to a technological state that could bring them even close to understanding our technology. But with one of our machines right in front of them, it would probably only take them 5, maybe 10 years to be able to work out the physics and the mechanics. In short, they could copy us technologically, gaining an understanding that way and help them to repair the machine. However, by my reasoning, in 5 or 10 years' time, we would have more than established control and could easily prevent or aid their understanding as we wish. We would certainly have got whatever it was that remained from them by that point. But that's all relative. The fact is, we haven't touched it, and it's more than likely going to touch us right now. Another voice is heard at the back of my mind, mocking, teasing, insulting, humiliating, demeaning, negative, abusive. It has my attention, and I do not hear Skirnage swear again, though it is much more blatant this time. You know, I'm concerned. I'm not sure if these voices are voices or just my unconscious, insulting me in a disguised form. Whether I believe that I could like myself, and that is the voices, i.e. not me, that is insulting me, or whether I hate myself that much that it actually is my conscience telling me what a wanker I am. This is not the time. If there is an opportunity to find out who is in that craft, it is now. Find out who is in control of that craft and what the hell they are doing. It's got to be one of our pilots. How can it be? The humans captured it, remember? Now hurry up before we get destroyed. Yes, I'll get onto it right now. Hurry up. Skirnage hurries to try and contact the craft. When there is no answer, he tries again. He tries a number of times, and I'm sitting here getting very, very nervous. I don't know why I'm nervous. Yes, I do. Our race is not invincible. One human has done it. Even if he fails again, there is always the potential for a better human to step into the ring. When Skirnage feels, independently I might add, that there is going to be no reply, he gives up. There's no answer, Sire William. I am really worried now. I had never, at any point, counted on the humans having such a powerful weapon. And who gave it to them? Us! Well, let's just get out of here, now! I managed to scream. Skirnage is relieved. He is just as scared as me, but looks dependent on me, as if I have some kind of a major plan. On our way, Sire William. Human fuck fires at the craft. The little missile target device starts recording it as little dots heading towards slightly bigger dots. But the representations are enough for any fool to understand what is going on. I see it, but I don't think Skirnage has. Whack goes my arm, hitting his, which is holding the trigger joystick. Push goes his leg, which is supporting his arm. Press goes his foot, which is connected to his leg as determined by biology. Up go we in the craft, which has responded to the electrical signals transported from the pedal into the computer, processed and converted into upward motion after further electrical message traveling into the uppy motor thing. And zoom goes the missile, missing us. Exhilarated, I go, having enjoyed the sense of my own doom, but deciding to act against it, knowing that a better, more controlled death is to come. A small segment of one of your roads gets blown away. Good dodge, says I. Thank you, sire. I spent 10 years as a fighter pilot. Did you? I say, in a way that if Skirnage didn't shut up, he would die. Flattery will take you so far. If you indulge it, it may take you to another plane of existence. But why exactly are we going back? Why can't we just fight back? He asks. Well, duh. Because we are not here to fight. Obviously, you fucking... So what do we do now then? Get you to quit your fucking useless questions. We are flying towards the atmosphere by this point. I cannot resist a look behind me, wondering when I will be back. Go back and organize a large fleet. We're going to get those puny humans until there's none left to get. They had their chance. They could have just been mere slaves to us, but not anymore. They will die, I say casually, ignoring the remarks about Skirnage that are still flooding through my head. Righty-ho then, Sire William. This is too much. I am able to accept only being addressed to as Sire, but Sire William is just pushing it. And he's used it. Tell me, how many times already? It's as if he thinks we are friends. The thought disgusts me. Pure lack of respect for such an obvious superior being. Not Sire William. Apparently, he thinks that it is about time to start majorly sucking up. Sorry, oh magnificently magnificent magnificence of all that is truly magnificently magnificent. That's better. Flattery will get you nowhere. General notes. I talked about passion in the intro. This chapter is where I realize that my passion turned into what I believe is a very finely written, fully realized piece of work. By my standards, at least. I'm proud of this chapter. All that hard work went into something that I may consider a favourite of my own personal writings. Okay, so it gets confusing towards the end. This book wasn't written with audio in mind. Consequently, there are times when Skirnage says something, then William has his inner monologue, but it sounds like that inner monologue is a spoken response to Skirnage, and then William responds to Skirnage, though even that isn't clear. If you can understand what I just said, then you probably had a better grasp on the chapter than even I've had listening back. Basically, I have come to realize that audiobooks bring their own challenges. I need to raise my game. But about William and Skirnage. Their relationship has always been of interest to me. I feel like I know their interplay quite well, but then chapters like this surprise me. I think I used to deliberately throw spanners into the works to confound my own self every time I got close to understanding the dynamic between these two. William appears very false in front of Skirnage. One could say he is wearing a mask, he is fronting, he is protecting himself from Skirnage, but he doesn't really know who to be when around Skirnage. It's a status-based relationship, but it's worth wondering what either get from each other. What's the reason for them gravitating towards each other? In other words, why have I paired them up? I guess it's a relationship of antagonism, awkwardness, crossed lines, not understanding, retaliation. Not unlike my personal life. William really wants to get affirmation from Skirnage, which is continually being denied. William makes decisions on behalf of a world, yet he clearly has a soft spot for Earth. This is not shared with Skirnage, and so creates a sense of isolation for William. What's interesting is that the more distance between the two is revealed, the greater the anger and the angst develops within William. So why is it that William turns to Skirnage so much? Why does he need affirmation from him? And is William able to realize this? Or does he continue with the merry-go-round? If William were to turn up in this podcast, which would not surprise anyone, and is no doubt expected, I don't think I would have anything to ask William. I feel I know him. I feel he is completed. And chapters like this are why. Also, I have the benefit of knowing how this particular relationship does wrap up. You know what I've come to realize? The simpler the story, the more one understands it. I remember reading the Jason Bourne series of books by Robert Ludlum. A very complicated story. The books have twists every other sentence, it felt like, and for me, it was impenetrable. As soon as I lost the plot, which was quite early on, I lost the desire to care, and it was a chore. For some reason, I read 3 of those books. Ask me to retell the story 15 years after I read those books, and I couldn't tell you a thing. If you had asked me even 5 minutes after putting the books down, I would have really struggled. Robert Ludlum, and he's not the only one, tells very complicated stories. I'm the opposite. I tell a simpler story. One that's easy to maintain the thread of. I mean, just look at my summaries in the intro. They cover all of the main beats, and we are 20 chapters in now, yet they are just a couple of sentences. Why is a simpler story an advantage? It allows me to go off on tangents. I can spend time looking at trees or pointing out that clouds seem fixed in the sky when not being blown by the wind. I can go all weird and surreal. Or, by having a simpler, overarching story, I can dig down into the B story of these two characters. So, yeah, by being simplistic, I actually find myself with a bigger canvas to play with. Whether or not that's your taste is different. There are many Robert Ludlum books for you to read if I'm too simplistic. I like to take my time when telling a story. Why shouldn't I? Who needs to rush through to each new plot point? The Psychologist's chair. So this is another hard episode to discuss. Hearing voices can be interpreted a number of different ways. So when I talk about it, I'm not from a theoretical logging about medical from something that's familiar to most of us. Just those normal voices at the back of anyone's head. We all have a critical voice that likes to sit on and yeah, being careful when talking about these issues is important. So no, I'm not saying that William has mental health issues. He's just more sensitive to voting voices. And of course, it relates to Ginger too. I've always been very careful not to diagnose him. I don't know enough about mental health, so I don't want to associate my characters with a psychological issue I don't know about. At best, I refer to it as PTSD. And I realize by doing that, I'm suggesting many people with PTSD are like Ginger, which is far from the truth. I need to stop doing that. The reality is, I use Ginger as a springboard to explore my own imagination. As a fictional character, he is a useful tool for playing around with my own imagined worlds. There's a reason I always begin with, this is fiction, always fiction. Logic is as logic does. Ginger functions within his narrative universe in his particular way because he was designed that way. Again, he is a tool I have created. He is not a proxy for mental health issues and therefore should not actually be associated that way. He is a surreal character. So, I knew this would happen. Didn't I ask you not to fuck around last time? Voices? You want to talk about voices? You know, I know, that that's nothing more than the critical back of our mind. I was going to explain that. You cut me off. You think I'm happy doing this? You called me in this time. Where's the microphone? Nope. No mic. I just found another way to talk to you. We don't talk outside the recordings. I don't trust that you aren't recording this. Fine. Look, I'll walk over here. Even if I could pick up what we're saying, it's going to be unlistenable. Why do you do this? I'm happy for the book to be read out. It's incomplete. But you talk about being busy, losing passion. Do you need to say so much? Yeah. Every time I feel that there's not enough time to properly do things. Every time I get close to an upload, I think about delaying the release. But if I do that, then who cares? The internet is full of stuff. You know, I get at least 15 people who listen to each episode within the first 24 hours. How much they listen to, I don't know. I'm sure it's just the chapter. I can't imagine anyone wanting to listen to the part after. 15. Yeah, it's not much. I'm doing a shitty job of promoting this. 15 people listen to us. There are more as time goes on. I can't. That's... wow. All those rejections. I knew people would like it. Just having a number. That's... wow. Yeah, I read out that one really shitty rejection letter on the very first episode, episode 0. You know the one, where the guy printed out a standard not interested form, then went to the effort to write how shit he thought it was on top. Why did you do that? Look, here's the thing. I don't know when we became different people. I don't know if it's you that gave up. That rejection was a hard one. I know I've not done anything for years. But this is what this podcast is. It's a love letter to you, to the book you wrote. I mean, fine, I'm critical. Do you know how often I think about rewriting this? I didn't for years. I want to get it to a publishable state. Whatever my reasons for this podcast, regardless of my complaints of being busy or finding this a chore, I do it when there's no reason to. What I don't like is when you piss all over what I have to say. I give you your credit. Even bits, like in this chapter, when a term that gets used that will go over really badly, I don't cut it. I mask it. I don't cut it. I give you your opportunity to shine. So that's why you're here, to bitch. Yeah, we need to catch you up with what's not okay to say anymore. No, he's gone back into quiet mode. Probably because he's not in this chapter, but next time, I guarantee you, he'll be back. What do we do? Are you saying that we work together? Yes. I don't know how right now, but yes. So what is it that I need to do to appease you? Do you need to be critical? You were the one advocating that last time. In public? Well, can't you just read the chapter? What's the need for the analysis? I don't know that people don't listen to it. How can we work together? We need to. Neither of us benefit from any of this. Look, I don't like all this personal shit. Books are to be read. They are not for the author to push their own interpretations onto the reader. I don't do that. I talk about story structure. You do way more than that. The point of any text is for the reader to bring their own ideas. Surrealism is that idea, encouraged. It's so simple. You want to stop dealing with me? Just read the chapter. Fuck the analysis. It will make the listeners happier, but they only have just the chapter and not a load of bullshit. You will be happier. Less to record, less to write, less to edit. You can get stuff out without worrying. Me, I don't have to have my private self exposed all the time. Ginger, he'll just be a character in the book. You want to rewrite the book? Great. Fuck it up as much as you want. Hey, you knew it wasn't finished. Yeah, but I wanted to finish it my way. At least my writing's out there in some form, so thanks for that. But you want to change it? Change it outside the podcast. Nobody cares. Did Terry Pratchett invite people in to watch him write? No. Rewrite the book in your own time. I'll leave you alone. Everyone's happy. I mean, fuck. The 4 to 15 people listening to my book actually amazes me. But I wanted this to be read by everyone. Cut the bullshit and everyone's happy. Maybe that's what'll get more people interested. I don't know. Try it. Any bullshit and I'll cut it myself next time. Work together, these are my terms. Can I at least close it out? Say goodbye? Sure. And this was recorded, so You motherfucker! People have a right to know. Whether they listen or not, an explanation is needed. What we said. Well, people will understand, okay? They don't care. Someone will. Look, it's going in. Well, I mean, there's no point in doing this anymore, is there? Address those points. And what do we have to look forward to next time? Our ace fighter pilot drinks a cup of tea. True Britain, true Brit. Until then, TTFN. And just in case you're wondering, all text was written by me, Daniel's Nemesis, and XBook is purely a work of fiction and is not meant to be based on anyone or any events at all. The music was also by me, Daniel's Nemesis, as was the image that accompanied this podcast. It sucks, doesn't it? But there we go.